This video is about the progress of the MBTA Communities Act in Massachusetts and in Newton in particular. The MBTA Communities requires rezoning for 177 cities and towns in eastern Massachusetts, particularly those that have access to MBTA, commuter rail, maybe the bus stations, I don't know. So in Newton, the compliance requirements are 8,330 units. I guess there are land area requirements, minimums 50 acres, and so on. The idea is that you allow buildings to be taller around commercial areas, and you allow rezoning to provide subdivisions of single-family homes. So in Newton, the current plan, which was updated 1023, provides approximately 9,300 units, which is almost a thousand units more than the law requires. And the latest plan has additions in Auburndale, West Newton, Newtonville, Newton Corner, Lower Falls, Waban, Four Corners, which is the intersection of Beacon and Walnut, Newton Center, Newton Highlands, the Elliott area, which is this kind of little area that's south of Route 9. I've actually never been here myself, but and then Upper Falls, which I've only been to once or twice, and this area called Thompsonville, which I don't think I've ever been to. That's the overall plan. The colors indicate what type of expansions are that the rezoning is supposed to do. So let's just quickly go over the individual villages. So here's Newton Center. We have VC3 and VC2 in red and blue. If you live in this area or travel in this area, you know that most of this area is commercial. This is residential, so what this means is that houses can be rezoned so that they can be split up into multiple units. This is Auburndale. I think Star Market is around here. Anyway, there isn't very much you can do about Auburndale. There's just not a lot in the village area. West Newton potentially has a huge amount of development potential, especially with the armory and the potential for building a lot of units in that block. If you drive around this area, you know that traffic can be absolutely nuts, particularly on Washington Street or the traffic going on and off the Mass Pike exit entrance. So you can build a lot of stuff here, but there's already a lot of traffic here, and I think a lot of these designs don't factor in parking. So the pictures are nice where you have this nice big apartment building and a bunch of people walking around on broad streets, but the picture that they showed had like a fraction of a car, and no, like just a car on the road, no cars parked on the side of the road, which you normally had. And Newtonville, of course. Here's Walnut and Washington, and this is already heavily commercial. And then they want to do some rezoning of some of the neighborhoods. Nonantum is a little bit north of Newtonville. There is not too much here. I don't really think you have much in the way of commercial property. Newton Corner is already nuts as far as traffic goes. They have the restaurant and the hotel and the Mass Pike goes below it. But traffic in this intersection, actually all the way around here, is just absolutely crazy. So adding more residential units, apartments, and so on, and increasing the height of the commercial buildings so that you have more, you can put apartments above businesses, will just contribute to the traffic, and I don't think any of this really addresses parking at all. And Newton Lower Falls, this is the area that is like Quinnipiquin Road. The 128 intersection is right over here, so all of this is just slightly to the west of 128. Lower Falls along Washington Street is already built up quite a bit, going further west than that. So there's this area. I don't really know too much about this area. We have a place that's like half a mile away, but the most I ever did was just walk down here, maybe to get to the pizza store or the grocery store, and then walk back. I didn't really look into what is over here. And then there's Waubun. This is Ainger School. These are large houses on Beacon Street near the school property. This is the large playground area. I grew up and played tennis on the tennis courts here. Then you have all these houses. They're relatively large lots. The houses are fairly big. So those potentially could be rezoned to be turned into, like, I guess 2 and 3 unit townhouses. I can see the attraction where if you've got primary school kids, they can just walk to Ainger. You can walk to the MBTA station over here. You can walk to shopping around here. But it will definitely change the character of this area. Newton Center went through this on Beacon Street, just west of the old church. And so you can see like duplexes on Beacon Street heading west from the intersection with Center Street. I have driven through this area. These are all just residential neighborhoods, and I spent a lot of time here because I had a friend that lived around here, or maybe up here. There's already a lot of traffic on these roads, and I think there's some condos, maybe condos here? I don't know, maybe it's further up in Chestnut Street. Yeah, the condos are over here, so those are already developed. But this is a 2-lane road. Speed limit's 35. This is a very, very busy intersection, so adding all these units will add to traffic. And there's always the problem of parking. And Four Corners, Beacon and Walnut. There's the libraries around here. Oh, sorry, not the library. Whole Foods is over here. You got a couple of restaurants. I think you have Walgreens over here, and you've got a couple of shops. So the idea is to potentially put a couple more stories on the buildings here, the retail places here, to provide housing. Again, the traffic here can be absolutely insane, and you can have backups in all 4 directions. And there's the issue of parking. I think this is the cemetery back here. Upper Falls, I'm not that familiar with. It doesn't seem like there's too much here. Just your business districts adding 3.5 to 4.5 stories to add residences above retail. And Thompsonville seems relatively small. This looks like a village district, so it's fairly concentrated around here. And then Newton Highlands. This is quite a bit of residential here that could get subdivided.
It's 11 o'clock.
Traffic along this road and this road can get really, really bad at times, even over here. The Elliott T-stop, I've never really kind of wandered around here. I've been on the team many times, and so I've gone through the station, and this is right around Route 9, but I'm not that familiar with it. But it seems like you have all of this housing along Route 9, and they say it can be rezoned so that you can do subdivisions on it. And then you've got some businesses. I'm not really familiar with what the businesses are here, because I've been on Boylston Street many times going into Boston, but I just never really paid attention to what the businesses are. So that's kind of the plan that was as of October 23rd, 2023. The Boston Globe, let's see. The Boston Globe on the 22nd, which was 3 days ago, had an article. Critics' successes in election could cool interest in Newton's plan for more. So, the election was earlier in November, and what happened is 5 councilors were replaced by new councilors who were supported by residents that don't want a lot of expansion. And that's changed the character of the discussion at the city councilor meeting. Let's see, it says, now, however, support for the city's plan may be cooling. In the November 7th local election, 5 newcomers won city council seats after being backed by groups critical of the development plans. So before, the council seemed kind of in agreement to do a lot more than what's required by law. And now it seems like that's changed, so that the city councilors are now thinking more along the lines of meet the requirements of the law for now. The new city councilors won't take office until 2024, and the vote for this has to be done by the end of 2023. So the old councilors won't be making the vote, but the councilors that weren't replaced probably are thinking about how the vote went. So one thing about this is that for me it's been really, really hard to get information, opinions, and a feel for where people stand on this. The vote on November 7th pretty clearly is for just doing the minimum to comply with the law, but the turnout for the vote was not very good, so it doesn't necessarily tell me how the vast majority feel, although if you don't go out to vote, that is expressing an opinion, that's kind of saying that you don't really care whether it happens or not. I suspect the people that live near the areas of impact are quite vocal. There's a website, I don't have it handy. Let me see if I can find it. Is this it? Oh, looks like that's dead. There is a website that's really anti-rezoning, and that's kind of one of the sites that I had because it had information on this. So, but okay, so we have that. We have these two, which are fine. This is the web page for version 3.1, which came out in 1023. Now, as to where we are now, there's an article in the Beacon. Still not there, ends another debate. So this is 4 days ago. We're really waiting until the last minute. So council debated more amendments for 3.5 hours, and they still didn't come to a decision. So there's another meeting scheduled next week. Well, is it November 30th? Yeah, November 30th. So most amendments were aimed at cutting maximum building size and maximum unit counts by moving them to VC3 to VC2 zones. VC3 zones allow buildings up to 4.5 stories, while VC2 zones only allow up to 3.5 and a 10,000 square foot from 15,000 square foot footprint. So this counselor wanted to remove a couple of lots from VC3. This counselor wanted to not to cut the church from the VCOD, noting that gives property owners, including religious organizations, more options. Then you've got one counselor who wanted to add units. Apparently business owners want to add more units so that they have more customers, and then maybe they can get some more revenue from their buildings by putting apartments above them. Her amendment added 430 units, bringing the total to 9,600, which is a lot. There's also a bunch of other comments, and so this debate was shut off when they're tabling the amendment so that they can see how many units are going to be knocked off the total to satisfy the Communities Act. I like this. I don't think that this neighborhood should suffer because they're coming after the other neighborhoods have had their numbers calculated in. There's discussion about let's see, Newtonville. And then the discussion of the meeting moving to the 30th. So after the meeting of the 30th, the planning board will have to recompute the numbers, recompute the maps, update the website, and I don't know if they're going to vote on a final plan. Probably not. My guess is that they will, again, discuss amendments at this meeting, and then they'll have to give the information to the planning board. The planning board will have to update the number of units and the maps, and then maybe they make a decision, like maybe in mid-December or maybe on the last day. So it's kind of hard to see what's going to happen right now because we're waiting until the last minute. It seemed like a fait accompli that we would get far more units than is required, but my guess is that most of Newton kind of really doesn't know what's going on about this because there's not been a lot of news about it, and finding out this information has been fairly difficult. It's good to note that this just changes zoning. All of the process about getting financing and getting the construction done, getting the land done, getting the permits will typically take at least a couple of years. So nothing's going to happen immediately, but I think the people in West Newton and Newtonville, maybe in Onantum, are concerned about the amount of construction that can go on and disrupt their lives, as well as traffic, parking, sewer, schools, police, fire, electrical, the typical things you worry about when infrastructure, there are already, some severe infrastructure problems, and you're adding a lot more construction to the area. So anyway, I will try to keep up with what's going on, and I guess I'll do a video when they actually vote and make a decision on what they're doing.